All right. I am excited to have a special guest with us today on the Kramer Jackman Show. We've got the one, the only Eddie Gage. How you doing today, Eddie?
What up, though? I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing okay. Well, you're an owner, you're a coach, you're a Hall of Fame strong safety, you're a broadcaster. My first question to you is, what don't you do in the SFL?
I don't coach offense.
Oh, there you go. All right, all right. Well, I'm excited to have you here, like I said at the start of it. But I know you've been on a couple of these interviews over your time frame here in the SFL. But I want to give you a chance to tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe outside the SFL that maybe most of the SFL doesn't know, maybe even your team doesn't know.
I served 4 years in the military as a tank driver during Desert Storm.
All right.
Spent 7 months over there during Desert Shield / Desert Storm.
Okay. I think that's when I was in.
Yeah.
So you were Army or Marines?
Army.
Okay.
13
Thank you for your
Bravo.
service. All right.
Thank you.
Love veterans.
Let me see. I used to box while I was in the military. I boxed as an amateur. Finished with a record of 17 and 1.
Wow.
Let's see. I played a bit of, where everyone knows I play football.
Yeah.
Let's see. I jumped out of aircraft as a parachutist. I'm known as a 5-jump chump. I did just enough to get pinned. So I jumped out of perfectly working airplanes, as my wife calls it.
Yeah. That's the only, if I had to do that, I was in the Navy, so I didn't have to jump out of any airplanes. But the only way I would ever jump out of an airplane is if Uncle Sam made me. I wouldn't do that for fun. There's no way.
Yeah, it was scary, but I did it, but I don't know. I just did it on a whim. Actually, they came around asking folks about it, and I said, sure, why not? Even though I was scared of heights,
right?
I need to do it anyway, which is crazy. But
oh
yeah.
man, oh wow, that's crazy. A lot of respect for you. So let's talk about your team here for a second. You're currently on a 2-game winning streak, the Arizona Scorpions, on a playoff push. It looks like maybe you started off a little slow at the beginning of the season, about 1-4, but you've had a winning record here in the second half. What do you attribute to your winning record?
Without giving away too much, let's just say I had a change in philosophy with some things and made some changes to that. And since then, as you said, yeah, we have a winning record since then. And that's what I contributed to, basically, pretty much. So.
Okay, all right. So who's been your MVP so far in this second half of the season?
My MVP. That's a good question. I wasn't expecting that one. For the most part, I'll say it's a group effort, but because we are leading the league in turnovers forced as a defense.
Okay.
But it's not one particular guy. We have Mana, who has 10. I think Tanner has 7. I believe Kanye has 4 or 5. I believe I have 4. So it's been a team effort. I have a rookie on the defense by the name of Joey Tropicana. He took the place of the recently retired DeAndre Washington, and he's filled in his shoes quite admirably, if I could say so myself.
You've got a scary defense, I'll tell you.
Yeah, my D-line, they're young. I got a bunch of rookies on there, but I just can't wait to see how we really perform once they progress, if you know what I mean. Once
they
get that off, defense is going to take off. But on the offensive side, it's been, like I said, a team effort. As of late, I'm sure you guys have noticed, Bovan has been picking up his play these past few games. The Hands brothers, they've been consistent pretty much all year. So it's kind of hard to put a finger on one particular person. It's just been a group effort all season.
Okay. So what about if you were to highlight one player on your roster that shows up game after game, maybe doesn't get the press in the SFL like some of your superstars like AJ and yourself or Kanye, who would that player be?
It'd probably be 2. I'm gonna go, and I say that because they don't show up on a stat sheet, but they make everyone else look good. And that would be Mark Mello and Alex Constantine. Those two guys,
Oh,
they're
wow.
rookies.
Okay.
But like I say, it doesn't show up on a stat sheet, but only like coaches see it. You know, the better coaches see it.
Right.
The penetration they get, rushing the passer, to get that ball out, and even in the run game and our run defense, they may not get the tackles or the stats, but they're pushing those offensive linemen back and making that stretch play or those dives up the middle more difficult because they have more of a path to run through, so to speak, to get there. So those two guys, they looking good right now. They've been even better these past couple of weeks, and as they progress, I'm telling you, like I said earlier,
look out, huh?
this defense gonna take off, man.
All right. So you play Las Vegas at home this week.
Yes.
And what are your thoughts about playing the Fury? They're not so good on the road. You got any confidence coming into this game?
I take no team lightly.
Okay.
No team lightly. So every game is for us right now is literally a playoff game, as we need all these last 2 wins to hopefully try and get in. I don't care if their record is 1-8 on the road. We're taking it like a playoff game. They got some weapons on offense. Robert Redford, oh my goodness, he's giving us headaches in practice. He had a couple of big runs when we played them earlier this season in their house. I mean, overall, we contain our offense pretty good, but those 2 big runs they had by Robert Redford pretty much set the tone and got us behind, and we could never recover. But so it's going to be a tough challenge. We can't forget those weapons on the outside either. Like I say, Tom Rahman got weapons all over the field.
Yeah.
On defense, we got to try to maintain the middle as they got some horses on that D line that gets a lot of pressure on Ashley. So
right,
we got to work cut out for us.
So I think there's been some banter going back and forth between you and Tom Rahman in chat. Is there anything, any message you'd like to send to him? Here's your opportunity.
Tom, it's friendly banter though. We go back and forth. This started, I think, last season when I think the first time they started, we was getting ready to play them, and it happened to be at the convention. And it was our first game, the first win we got in Houston last season when I was there at DC. It started back then. It kind of carried over, so to speak. But it's all friendly. It's no big deal. But as far as anything I want to say to him, nah, I do my talking on the field.
All right. Okay, fair enough. So my next question has to do with your, actually a couple questions, has to do with your pregame interview that was posted on the internet. Very impressive. Well done. But from my vantage point, it looks like there was a lot of product placement in that video. It's just like Major League Baseball maybe, and maybe Dodge Ram. So the question was, you get anything back, after putting that product there on camera?
It's funny you said it because I was actually supposed to shoot that video outside in the driveway. And we could never get the camera angle right to get this because the sun was glaring that day. And I'm here in the desert, so the sun was glaring, and we just could not get it the way we wanted to without the sun glaring out the view of the camera. So we ended up moving it indoors in the garage. That was just all coincidental. But thinking back on it, maybe I should have tagged Dodge on that post.
Yeah. A lot of Dodge going on in that.
Yeah.
So the interviewer was extremely tough, trying to push your buttons. How did you stay so cool?
Well, when I came into the league, my publicist and everyone else, they kind of forewarned us about the kind of questions we would get and try to remain calm and give them political answers when need be, so to speak.
Okay, I got one more question about your interview, and then I'll move on. So I know your daughters are young. They're not of age yet, but when they get dating age, if a boy shows up in a Ford pickup truck, what are you going to do?
I wasn't expecting that one either. Hey, I don't discriminate, but if Dodge happens to give me some kind of sponsorship, then I'll escort him towards out the door. So
okay. All right. Well said. Well said. So I know anyone who's on Discord knows that the league's put out some announcements and some applications for expansion teams. Last season, not necessarily an expansion team, but you went through some process to become an owner. What kind of advice would you give to the folks out there that are thinking about putting in for expansion?
First thing I would say is to get with the owners individually. You know, if you have to, send them a DM, things like that, and say, hey, what is it that I can do that would possibly separate me from other candidates in terms of, getting attention set on me and my team and my aspirations. Get some, let everyone know your stadium choice, just your city choice, where you plan on putting the team at and why you chose that area. Showcase your uniforms. Some of these guys even gotten even more creative and even created social media accounts to help
Yeah, I
you.
know, I saw that, man.
That's very impressive. I mean, these guys are taking it to the next level these days. So, I start there.
Okay. It's a lot of we talked about expansion. There's a lot of things going on in the SFL that's very exciting. Like we talked about expansion, 2 new teams next season. We've got the minor leagues. We've got SFL convention. What gets you most excited about the SFL?
Competing. I love to compete.
Okay.
I remember when Cam last season when I was in Houston, I was their defensive coordinator. He sent out a message in the owners forum asking what teams he would want to play, and I told Cam all the top teams. I want them all.
Right.
I like to see how I match up against the best coaches, the best players. I always want to play the best each and every week if I could. I want to see how I match up. So I love to compete. I love everything about it. I love game planning. It seems like these games take forever to get here, but we need it as coaches because we're not just sitting back. We're trying to figure out the best ways to put our teams in the best position to succeed. And sometimes it takes me a while, some teams more than others, because
Right.
some of these guys' playbooks seems to be, like 3-4 pages sometimes.
Yeah.
Like for instance, Las Vegas, my opponent coming up, their playbook is just as big as anybody else's. So it takes time to get ready for these guys.
Okay. All right. So I've gone through all my questions. I want to give you an opportunity before we sign off here to give any shout outs, anything you want to share with the SFL and the rest of the world that'll be watching this video.
First and foremost, I'd like to give a shout out to Cam. I mean, he started this thing from the ground, from the bottom, and there's been many times I know he shared with me he contemplated giving up, and I'm glad he stuck with it. And we've grown tremendously since then. And I mean, the sky's the limit. We aren't done. As I told him before, we aren't done. I mean, we have not reached our peak. This thing is just starting to kick off. We got 2 more teams coming because of it, because all the attention we got. We on TV, all these sponsors. The league is continually growing. I'd like to give him a shout out, and then all of the league staff who's helping him out, behind the scenes with the website and social media, and helping Destro with the uniforms and getting our roster set. I'd like to thank all those guys, get all those guys their proper due of respect. My team, of course, everybody on my squad who rode with me, who believed in me to join my squad. I know we didn't get off on quite the right foot we wanted to, but man, I'm telling you, our future is bright. We got a bunch of hungry lions up in there, and man, I'm telling you, our locker room sometimes it gets bananas, and I just can't wait for this thing to take off and show these guys who've been routing me all this time, the dreams and aspirations I got for this squad. We're not done. This season isn't done. We got 2 games coming up to close the season out. So I want to give all my dogs in the locker room a big shout out. Ashley for constantly promoting us and, getting our name out there and recruiting. Bovine, getting the offense coached up and turned around this season. A defense, all my dogs in the trenches who ride with me every Sunday, getting those interceptions and whatnot. I get so excited just seeing those guys compete. Hashtag give me that pick. We out there, man. Oh my God, I'm just getting goosebumps just thinking about it. I want to give all those guys a shout out. I can't forget the mom who gave me a chance, to be a co-owner in Houston. He gave me a chance and allowed me to learn and pick his brain every time I needed a chance, an opportunity at something. I got to thank him. TJ for introducing me to this league. I got to thank him. Without him, I wouldn't be here. Who knows what my life would be at without him. So I want to give him a special shout out as well. Everybody who believed in me, who voted yes for me to, become an owner and take this thing to the next level. Man, I could go on and on. My wife for having the patience and leaving me alone. I'm in this office like as I am right now, getting this playbook together. It's so much time I spend away from her, my kids, and my family and friends. There's so much I've sacrificed. But man, I wouldn't change it for a thing. So I got to give her and my kids, some praise for, allowing me to spend the hours I do in this office, getting everything ready. I could go on and on, but yeah. So everyone, the owners who believed in me, like I said, who voted yes for me, and for those who didn't vote for me, man, I hope I've done enough to convince you to change your mind and think otherwise. If not, I just continue working and doing what I got to do.
Okay. All right. Well, the band's starting to play, so we're going to have to. No, I'm just kidding. I appreciate you making time to get on my first attempt at the Kramer Jackman show, maybe my last. But hey, I've got the best guy in the league to come out here. You're an ambassador of the SFL. You hold yourself well. You help everybody that asks for help. Much respect for you, and I really appreciate you jumping on.
No doubt. Thank you.